So how are things going at your house? Because with kind of the chaos of the world, I gotta tell you, parenting's getting kind of scary.
Yes, I so agree. It's just crazy these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I spend so much time worrying, and I know I shouldn't. I know that God has it. I don't know, how about you guys?
Well, that's a conversation we kind of keep having about trying to not be so in the world and just really relying on our faith.
Right. And then I think, the problems we have, and then there's so many more problems out there that are so much bigger than ours. I remember the Bible story about the man whose son has the evil spirit?
Tell me more.
Remember I think it starts out, Jesus is walking with a group of people, and they come up to the disciples, and they see that there's a crowd gathered around the disciples. And when they get up there, it's the teachers of the law, and they're arguing with the disciples. And when the people gathered around see Jesus coming, they're filled with wonder, and they run out to greet him. And Jesus asks, "Why are you arguing with them? What are you arguing about?" And then a man from the crowd speaks up and says, "Teacher, I brought my son to you. He's controlled by an evil spirit." I think, whoa, we don't have those problems,
Right.
And he says, whenever he comes upon him, he can't speak because of it. He throws him to the ground. He foams at the mouth. He grinds his teeth. He's stiff. He said, "I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't drive the spirit out." And Jesus says, "You unbelieving people, how long do I have to stay with you? How long do I have to be among you? Bring the boy to me." And so they bring the boy to him. And Jesus, when the evil spirit sees Jesus, obviously he recognizes that it's Jesus, and he throws the boy into a fit right there. And he throws him to the ground, and he starts foaming out the mouth. And Jesus looks at the father, and he says, "How long has he been like this?" And the father said, "Since he was a child. And there's many times that the spirit has thrown him into fire and into water, trying to kill him." And he said, "If you can do anything, please take pity on us. Please help us."
Oh,
Do you remember that?
I do remember this story, because
Yeah?
this is my favorite part. Because the dad says, "If you can do anything, take pity on us." And Jesus is like, "If I can do anything?"
Right.
We can do anything if you believe. And the father immediately says, I believe, please help me overcome my unbelieving." I remember this story, yeah.
Right.
Well, then a crowd starts to gather, and Jesus is gonna command this evil spirit out of this boy. I remember that. And he says, "You spirit that makes him unable to speak and unable to hear, I command you to leave this boy and never enter him again." I do remember that. And it was in that moment, literally, you said the spirit recognized Jesus, all right. That spirit starts screaming. The boy, his body is just shaking wildly.
Right.
But the spirit leaves him. But he kind of left him lifeless. And the way it reads is that whole crowd thought the boy was dead at that moment. But Jesus reaches his hand out and pulls him up to his feet, and he's fine. And so Jesus kind of leaves that area. Again, he's really trying to focus on teaching the disciples at that time. And the disciples they went inside and they asked him in private, "Why weren't we able to drive that spirit out?" And he said, "This kind can only be let out by prayer." And he takes the disciples from there at that time, and they continue on their journey, and he tells them that the Son of Man is going to be delivered to the men who will kill him. And that at that time, 3 days later, he'll raise again from the dead. But the disciples had no idea what he was talking about, and honestly, they were too afraid to even ask him about it.
Right.
I do remember that story.
Right.
Great story.
I know, and it just makes me think he can do anything.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
We don't have to worry.
That's right.